Good morning, everybody. I'm back in my set. I've had a rough few days, but seem to be getting better now. So fingers crossed that'll keep going in the right direction. So the big news in the UK is that the Prime Minister has been fined by the Metropolitan Police for breaking his own laws. And that's absolutely right because he's an absolute hypocrite, as have the other people who've been fined, including his wife. Carrie Johnson and the Chancellor of the Exchequer, the Finance Minister of the UK, Rishi Sunak, and a number of other people who are in the government or around the government in 10 Downing Street, which is quite frankly, an absolute scandal. And this has never happened before, that a sitting Prime Minister has been fined and essentially been found to be breaking the law. In fact, his own laws that he made. Now, the thing is, with me and most other people in the UK, really don't care a monkeys about whether he was having a party in Downing Street. I mean, that's neither here or there. That's normal, whether he was meeting friends, drinking wine, eating some cake. I really don't care that he did that. But I do care that he did that while putting in place a law that said that everybody else would be fined and would be criminalized for doing those things. And then they went and did it themselves and thought that they could just get away with it and live by this mantra of one rule for us, another rule for everybody else. We're going to tell the plebs what to do and ruin their lives, ruin their businesses, ruin their kids' educations, ruin their mental health. We're going to sit in our nice little bubble and not do all the things that we're telling everybody else to do. And it's now pretty obvious that the lockdowns were not necessary, and clearly the people that put these lockdown laws in place, which were repugnant, actually didn't care about keeping them, and certainly weren't frightened of a deadly virus. And all of the propaganda that went out from the behavioral psychology unit and the advertising, that the posters, we all know, look them in the eyes and tell them that you are not going to take a test, or you're not going to wear a mask, whatever, to try to get people to comply and to try to get people to be afraid. All those advertisements clearly didn't have an effect on the people who were commissioning them, because they didn't care. So, whether they have a fine or not, I mean, 50 quid, 60 quid fine, it's not going to hurt these people at all. I mean, Rishi Sunak is a millionaire. He's married to a billionaire who until very recently was a non-dom, which meant that she had a special tax status. But, that's a whole other story. That is a scandal at the moment in the UK. She's changed her status now, but only after these things have come out. But these people clearly were making rules that they were not willing to keep themselves. So, as I say, a 50 quid fine isn't going to hurt them at all, but it will hurt their reputations. And people are calling for them to resign. Well, as far as I'm concerned, that's neither here or there, because, Boris Johnson is clearly a terrible Prime Minister who put in place these rules, lockdown rules, which then led on to the masks, and then led on to the injections, and that was then going to lead on to digital identity and social credit. They've pulled back from that for now, but they're still under the surface, pushing ahead with those plans by stealth, with things like NHSX and the WHO, International Pandemic Preparedness Treaty, spoken about those things in other places. So they're pushing ahead with the program, however things seem at the moment. So whether we remove Boris Johnson is neither here or there. I mean, he's terrible, but if he goes, who will he be replaced by? someone else who's a Tory MP. Michael Gove, Liz Truss, the people like that, Ben Wallace. I wouldn't want any of those people being Prime Minister. They're all on the same side, the side of the globalists, who would be prepared to do the same kind of thing, lock down again at a heartbeat if they got their orders to do so, because they will change and twist the narratives to suit whatever they decide to do at the time, the moment that they're in. So, we don't want to replace one terrible person with another terrible person, or what do you want to do? Do you want to get rid of the fake Conservatives and then put in Labour, who are even worse? We saw over the last 2 years they were acting in lockstep together. So Labour are carping on about how terrible Johnson is at the moment, but honestly, would it be any different with them? No, of course not. Excuse me. So, with the parties that are there, there is no real alternative. So, as I always say, please do come and join me in the Heritage Party, because we are building a real alternative to all of these globalist parties that have been running our nation into decline for the last few decades. So we're going to have some candidates standing on May the 5th. I would have liked to have more. Maybe now is the time for people to actually, really step up and get involved in politics. So we can't put any more candidates in this year because the deadline for submitting nomination papers has passed for May the 5th. You've got to hand your papers into the council a month before. But there'll be more elections next year in many more places in England and Northern Ireland as well. So we want to stand many more candidates next year if we can. And we're starting to look now. So please come and join me in the Heritage Party now. Become a member, then you can become a candidate. You can support candidates. We can really make a challenge to these people who don't care about us, ordinary people, and don't care about our country, and build an alternative which is going to set us back on the right path. And particularly thinking about the general election, which is coming up. It's only likely to be 2 years away, probably going to be May 2024. So we need to build into a viable force that can challenge these parties in the general election in 2024. So please do join me. The link is below there. Please also do give me a thumbs up if you can, and subscribe to my channel down below as well. Okay, thank you. I'm going to say some more things later on to catch up from what I haven't been able to say over the last couple of days. Okay, God bless you all.